Hello. In this podcast, we will be discussing subjects that may not be suitable for all ages.
What are you talking about? Everyone should listen to us. We're hilarious.
Well, yes, but we talk about things that might upset people, like violence and murder.
Oh, yeah. And the movies we talk about have a whole lot of nudity, too.
Logan, we've talked about this. The audience cannot see the nudity.
Oh.
And we have a tendency to swear a lot.
Oh, fine. Okay, so no kids. And Grandma, please don't listen.
Anyway, enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to Living Vicariously, the podcast where we talk about real-to-real horror.
I have nothing to do with the source material, Logan, and I like to watch and talk about horror movies.
And I am high as balls, McCall, and I like to talk about true crime and murder.
And I'm a Jill Sandwich, Tyler, and I beg to be here.
Yay! Special guest star!
Special guest star, Tyler! Tyler, where do we know you from?
Yeah, what would the audience want to tune into?
Well, if you've been down on Hennepin and 5th on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm working the corner then. Let's see here.
It's his spot.
That's my spot.
He will fight you.
The glitter you see on the corner is from me.
Yeah, it's right next to the dumpster.
where I find my acrylics.
Yes.
No, I am a local drag queen here in the Twin Cities. Logan and I, McCall, we play D&D together. Logan, we stream together.
Yes.
Do we want to plug our stream while we're here?
We have many intersecting things here.
Oh, I didn't even mention the choir. Shit.
Also, yeah, we know each other from the Gay Men's Chorus in the
yes.
Twin Cities.
Mm-hmm. I know that well because
Yes.
I'm a gay man and I'm there too.
Yes. You actually probably could be, because there actually is no rule about, like, you have to be a gay man to be in the
gay
gay
I think the rules are like a male presenting person, but you don't have to be gay. Although, once again, I have no idea.
I wear men's clothes a lot.
She
Does
really
that count?
does.
Honestly, I don't, so.
So boom! That's me and Logan's whole relationship.
Yeah.
He wears girl clothes, I wear boys clothes.
Yeah.
But yes, we do.
I still say, like, one day our dad said, like, he was like, wait, I got a son and a daughter. I got them both. They were just kind of reversed.
They were just flip-flops.
Oh, same with me and my sister. My sister's super butch. Like, plays softball, hunts, fishes, and I'm just like, hi. Alaska 5000.
I like, Trixie was talking about it. She's like, my brother is, like, way older, and he was, like, in Iraq. He's like, and then I have two, like, baby sisters, and I'm the queer in the middle.
Yay.
Got home painting his fingernails and playing the guitar. And it's like, your brother's airdropping out of helicopters in Iraq.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Logan and I stream together on, let's see, what's our schedule again?
Games become them.
Yeah, games become them. And our schedule is Friday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah.
It's
on Facebook.
On Facebook. All right, so Tyler, what the hell are you doing in this apartment?
How'd you get in here?
What are you doing? What are you doing here?
You guys really need to
What
stop.
are you doing?
You really need to stop leaving your windows open. It is November.
She's on the third floor.
Second floor?
Well, I am here.
Everyone needs a little anarchy, chaos.
Yes, and I am the trash gremlin that will supply that.
And we really wanted to, like, hang out with a lot of people during this time of quarantine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have an entire film crew here watching us. Others, 20 people in this apartment.
An audience just breathing at us.
No laughter, no reaction except just heavy breathing.
Well, I think even if there was an audience, they'd all just be kind of like, what's going
We're
on?
watching people record.
What are they
That's it.
saying? I don't get it.
Why would they look at us?
They just keep quoting. I don't.
They just keep talking about TV shows I've never watched or watched once.
That one says a quote, and then that one says it halfway through at the same time, and then they laugh really hard.
It's so funny. Someone, who was it that was saying, like, how do you know what the other person's going to say so quickly? And I'm like, we've watched the same shows a million times over and over again.
Also, get good. I mean,
scrub, noob. Also,
oh my god, I've been playing those, like, Dark Souls, Bloodborne's, Dead Cells.
That would be a fun
never.
one to do if you ever had me back for video games.
Yeah.
Any of the Dark Souls or Demon Souls, those are
I do
grade
love
A
those
horror.
ones. I like Bloodborne.
I like Bloodborne.
I like
love
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne.
Okay, I love Bloodborne at the beginning where it's like Victorian horror, werewolves, and then by the end of it, it's like Lovecraftian
Cthulhu.
horror, Cthulhu monsters, and I'm just like, where'd this come from?
Why are they putting eyes on brains?
Exactly. Why does this creature open its mouth and its tongue has eyes?
You want eyes on the inside. What's so hard about it?
You can see lots and lots of tumors.
A Far Side calendar.
Wait, really?
Wait, really?
For the record, I and those people in the audience are just like, what's happening?
That was Bob's Burgers. Oh, we're gonna have to explain all of them.
Oh my God, we have to explain it.
That's all this will be. Just you explaining quotes.
They're all Bob's Burgers.
9 times out of 10 is gonna be Bob's Burgers. The other 1% is going to be like
SpongeBob.
no, it'll be like
SpongeBob does sneak in there.
it's like that remaining like one gets split into like several different categories, but mostly it's gonna be Bob's Burgers.
Yep. Okay. So what are we doing? What's happening?
What are we doing, Tyler? What are we doing? What are you doing?
I don't know. I didn't prepare.
In life or for the show?
I didn't think I'd get this far.
Maximum
overdrive. I knew I should have sprung for the turbo. Okay, so we are going to be talking about
SpongeBob.
Well, they brought me on because I'm going to be talking about the very first Resident Evil video game. I don't know if I'm going first.
You're gonna go first.
Okay, I'm gonna go first. Panic. Okay, so I have these.
Really quick. I will not really be talking about the Resident Evil movie in this one, but I'll be peppering in little things every once in a while, just because if we did the video game, the movie, and the true
whatever
crime,
McCall's doing,
it would be much too much.
You
Way
would
too
tune
much.
out.
Okay. So, and it's also funny because the movie has nothing to do with the video game.
That's where my intro tied in.
And we're full circle.
We've been there. All right, so Resident Evil is a survival. I'm not even drinking.
The second you start reading, all words become meaningless.
Well, because like I tried to synopsize the story like on my own. I'm just like, there's so much I put in too much, so I'm like, I'm just gonna go on Wikipedia, get that synopsis. But the blurb is: Resident Evil is a survival horror video game developed and released by Capcom, originally for the PlayStation in 1996. So this video game is 24 years old, and I will be spoiling it. And if you haven't played it, like, what's wrong with you?
You
first off?
should.
You should. It's good.
It's good.
I will say, so there is a remaster on Steam. The remaster is very good. The original game,
I purchased the remaster on my Switch. It's also on Switch.
the remaster plays bad. It is not a very intuitive system. And when I was excited to play it on a ROM on my computer because I don't have a PlayStation, and I can only get to the part where she was talking about being a Jill sandwich, because like you have to, because there's no auto aim, so you have to like do stuff with keys. It just doesn't work. But let's see.
Not the remaster, the remake. The remake of Resident Evil.
Well, I mean, it's a remaster.
Yeah. The one where like it's actually like good graphics and better voice acting.
I thought they did that, but with the guy with the fun hair. They did a remake Master where he has like nice hair and he's one of the main guys. He's not Jill.
Chris Redfield?
Leon
Leon.
Kennedy.
Leon.
Yeah.
Leon Kennedy is in the second one.
I watched
And
that one.
He's in the fourth one too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in the fourth.
Yeah,
fourth one.
which actually a very good game.
We have Brendan.
Brendan is just screaming at us from the bedroom because he knows what we're talking
No,
about.
I know what you're
more.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the new Resident Evil
It
2
looks good.
game that came out. That's really good.
It like scared me to watch
Oh,
it.
Resident Evil 7? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
Oh.
there's a Resident Evil.
There's
a Resident
so many.
There are
there's
far too
and then-
many.
Oh my god.
And then they just came out with Code Veronica or whatever. a while
some of
ago.
them-
Whatever.
And some of them, actually, a good majority of them are hot garbage. Hot, steaming piles of trash. But anyway, so the plot follows Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, members of an elite task force known as STARS, as they investigate the outskirts of Raccoon City following the disappearance of their team members. They soon become trapped in a mansion infested with zombies and other monsters. The player, having selected to play as Chris or Jill at the start of the game, must explore the mansion to uncover its secrets. That was so much harder than I thought it was going to be to read
Fun
that.
fact, playing as Chris is kind of the hard mode.
Okay.
But not for the reason you're thinking. It's like you'd think that Chris can't hold as much as Jill can. So you think all of those muscles he's got are just for show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lockpick. He goes through the mansion, has to find old rusty keys, whereas Jill can just unlock things with her.
So
lockpick.
she's just better.
That was
the only thing that's and he doesn't start out with a gun. He just starts out with a knife.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the only thing that's better is that he can technically take more hits.
I mean,
It's like, okay, that's not a good trade-off.
no.
For
Especially
all of the
with
other things?
the knife is trash.
Garbage.
Hot trash. But so the story opens up on July 24th, 1998, when a series of bizarre murders occur in the outskirts of the fictional Midwestern town of Raccoon City. The Raccoon Police Department's STARS team are assigned to investigate.
Stars.
And after contact with Bravo team is lost, Alpha team is sent to investigate their disappearance. Alpha Team locates Bravo Team's crashed helicopter and land at the site where they're suddenly attacked by a pack of monstrous dogs, killing team member Joseph Frost. So with that, I forgot that the opening sequence is a live action.
It's live action,
and it's terrible.
I like how Wesker is wearing sunglasses at night.
Doesn't he always wear sunglasses?
He always wears sunglasses.
But
That's his
with
thing.
the monstrous dogs, it's shot that it looks like those videos of like where a dog like sees something happy and it flips on a camera that's like on their chest and they run towards it.
Oh yeah,
that's how it's shot, and it's bad. And it's like also the camera angles are really bad.
Don't go.
It's just and I forgot about that. So when I was watching, or like when I booted up, I was just like, oh god.
Oh yeah.
Also,
no.
Fun fact: the helicopter driver, if I remember correctly, his name is Brad.
Brad
Vickers.
Yep.
And his nickname is Chicken Heart. So that explains why he left.
Which I don't think is a very good like quality of a person who's flying your helicopter.
Yeah, no.
Them to be a coward.
He gets his eventually.
It does. So that is the next thing that happens. That Brad like just takes off. He's like, peace. I'm out. So let's see here. He pieces out. Then the remaining members of the team, Chris, Jill, Albert, and Barry, are forced to seek refuge in a nearby abandoned mansion, which is just like, why is there a mansion
It's
just
just, hanging out.
just in the middle of nowhere?
Also, Rebecca, who's like Rebecca Chambers.
I don't
She's
know
also-
what's happening.
She's in there. She's there as
She's
well.
in there.
She's another member of Stars. She's inexplicably on this team as like the medic, and she's like 18.
Oh, that's right.
She's a really good medic.
Yeah.
I like her intro because they all get their like intro sequence where they all like loading guns, and Albert Wesker kind of like pulls his hair back. She has like a headband, and she goes like Chun-Li from.
That's right. That's right.
something.
It does give you a very like Mortal Kombat vibe at the
is.
beginning. And I think so. Let's see here. We have that. Okay, so depending on which character the player assumes control of, either Chris or Barry are separated from the rest of the team during the chase and do not make it to the mansion. What I didn't know is that the game itself does not have a tutorial on its controls.
Oh, really quick.
Yes.
The reason you probably didn't know about Rebecca, she only shows up if you choose Chris as a main character.
That's why, because I played through as Jill.
Yeah.
Weird.
I played through as Jill.
Rebecca is the Barry.
Oh,
basically.
okay. So it's swapped.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's swapped.
so the
It's
game
big swipped.
the game doesn't actually come with a tutorial, and I was like, why do I not know what's happening? Because
Those controls are shit.
oh no, and they're shit. But the reason it didn't come with like there's no tutorial in game is because back in the day it would have had that little booklet in the cartridge or like the pack.
Which everybody reads.
I loved
same.
those things.
On the way home when I just bought a new game, reading it in the car.
We got in the game at GameStop. That's the first thing I did. I cracked open that thing and I read those little pamphlets. I saved them for a long time. I eventually did throw them away, but I had a fat stack of like Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance like things all the way back to like Pokemon Red. I still had like that was my very first game ever. I had like that fat stack.
I
did
don't
get rid of
even
it eventually.
do the tutorials now. I skip them because they annoy me. And Brendan's like, McCall, you don't know the buttons. And I'm like, yeah, but I'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. It's
I'll
fine.
figure
The
it
thing,
out.
is,
I got it.
the thing is, so I was playing this on a ROM on my computer, so I couldn't figure it out. So I had to look it up to see what I was doing. Because like it doesn't explain that you can combine items. You have to like look at items in the inventory.
It does not.
Inventory management, how the saving works. It's just I played it back when I was like 7 when my friend brought it over to play it on my PlayStation. Like it was this big scandal because our parents didn't know because it's like it was one of the first rated M games to come out in America. Yeah, so we got that. Okay, so
I remember our cousins, similar kind of story. Our cousins brought over Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation. I believe it was Colin and Jeff. They brought over, and I remember I watched them, and they had a guidebook for it too. And I remember looking through the guidebook and being like, seeing like the pictures of the zombies and being like,
Yeah.
I hate this, but I love.
This
and your love
feeling
of horror was
fear?
born.
Exactly. I was gonna say it's been bugging me like what the name of that game like what the version of that Resident Evil is on here that I have.
Is it Code Veronica?
No, it's Resident Evil. It's literally just called Resident Evil, but it's like
Okay.
it's like the updated one. It came out for the GameCube originally.
Are they naming them like the Fast and the Furious
Oh,
franchise?
they might as well be.
The only one that has a different name really is Code Veronica. Otherwise, the rest of them kind of go by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But those are not the names in order because they're a bunch of spin-offs.
Aren't there isn't there like the Village? That's one, right? Village.
That's
What?
I think about Resident Evil 4.
Oh God, I don't. Bam.
Resident Evil 8's not out.
No,
yet.
thank you,
I
Brandon.
love Brendan so much.
Okay, so they go to the mansion, And then at this point, the team decides to split up to investigate. Over the course of the game, the player character may encounter several members of Bravo team, including Enrico Marini, the captain of Star's Bravo team.
Wasn't he pecked to death?
Yes, he was the one who was pecked to death by the Ravens.
Zombie ravens?
Zombie
Or
Ravens.
just regular ravens?
I mean,
Because they will do that.
so
They will fuck you up.
it's implied that they're zombies, but I think they're just regular because they happen later and they don't attack Jill on sight. So I'm
No,
not...
she has to like do a painting puzzle
Yeah.
and then they attack her.
Oh, then they attack her? Because
Yeah.
the one when I did it, she just went right through.
Oh, as long as if you do the painting puzzle correctly, they get you.
Also,
So that means you didn't do it right.
while we're here, while we're talking about these puzzles, the first part of the game, those puzzles are fucking hard. Like, I don't know how you would figure that out without some sort of guide or...
Also, the game is timed technically.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
I
There are
don't
four.
like
There are 4 endings depending on how fast and how many things you do.
because it's like if you don't reach like Barry by this time, he's dead by the time you get there.
Yep.
This is terrifying.
And like,
And you don't know that.
no, and the first half of the game, the first part of the game before you go down to the laboratory, is very heavily puzzle based. But then after that, it kind of railroads into a lot of combat. But like a lot of those puzzles, they're really complicated and
Very arbitrary.
It reminds me a lot of those old like point and click adventure games on the computer.
Yes.
Just a lot more violence.
Yeah. Those old point and click games. So those LucasArts games.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my
like,
God.
like Pajama Sam.
Pajama
Yes.
Sam! And
what's-
Putt-Putt.
Oh, putt.
The car.
What's the ring? There's like a wizard one where he's. It's,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
can't remember.
I don't know what you're
but
talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Rincewind. Rincewind is the wizard character, but that's
Yep.
not the name of the series.
But it's I know what you're talking about. But yeah, so and it plays a lot like those. Also, there's a loading screen for every door, which I don't know. We're kind of spoiled today now with games where like a lot of them don't have a lot of loading screens. Every door, every room, every staircase has another loading screen, like where it does the whole door
Walk
animation.
up the stairs.
But she only gets up halfway up the stairs, then she, in real
She
time,
zooms
goes
up
up
there.
the.
Oh, Resident Evil 2. They get you. They get you good.
See,
because you're so conditioned with that. You open the door and zombies come in.
I was ready for that to happen, but it never did because I was like, this would be a perfect opportunity. Maybe the technology wasn't there for it. Or
But once they came around with Resident Evil 2, they're like, oh no,
Let's do it.
let's totally get them.
Okay, so you're going through the mansion, and then the one of
Also,
Alpha
welcome
members,
to the podcast where I interrupt you every time you
That's
start talking.
honestly, I've listened to it, so
It's
I'm
really
ready.
hard.
I was
mean-
prepared.
Also,
Hot as balls in here.
I feel like we should have no hands on the table because the last time we did it on the table, it was just a bunch of like click, clack, click, clack.
Well, we have a towel muffling our sound.
I know, but I get nervous. Sometimes I get
Nervous?
nervous on airplanes.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say sometimes when I get nervous.
I put my hands under my armpits.
and I
smell
smell
them
like this.
Is that Bob's Burgers?
No,
No,
that's,
that was
I-
a deep
heard-
cut.
that's
But I've
Saturday
heard
Night
that
Live.
before. I don't know where it was from.
Superstar.
Oh, okay.
That movie about that one SNL character. I love that.
Also, I was.
Why don't you go drink a bottle of yourself, Evian?
Also, did you say he got pecked to death by crows?
I thought so.
You're wrong.
Oh,
You're wrong, you idiot.
there was one.
No,
someone
there is
was.
one. But Enrico Marini, they find him, and then he reveals that one of Alpha team members is a traitor.
Is
and
he the one
and then he
that's-
gets shot.
I was saying he's the one that's like, Jill, this mansion's full of demons.
No, that's the guy.
Ouch.
That's the guy that got bit by the snake.
Oh yeah.
No, this guy is fully like he has massive puncture wounds all over his body, and then you have to run and go get him serum because he got bit by a snake. Then he's like, and he's like I'm dying, the poison.
The voice acting is.
Impeccable.
Oh, there's a point where I swear to God that also I feel bad because I feel like I'm peeking the mic.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay.
Don't even look at it.
It doesn't exist.
Great.
It's not here.
Okay, so there's a point where I swear to God Jill's voice actor changed, and she went British because she's like, Barry, where have you been? It was- I just stopped. 'cause I was
Barry,
laughing so
ow,
hard.
are, ooh.
Ow, ar, ooh.
But she just the way she was like bean, and I was like, oh.
Old bean.
Okay, so that happens. The player character eventually learns that a series of illegal experiments were being undertaken by a clandestine research team under the authority and supervision of the biomedical company Umbrella Corporation, which is where we get the.
I do
Dun,
love.
dun,
I do love that
dun.
the name and like the logo for Umbrella.
Umbrella. It's pretty sweet.
It is. Oh, like that'd be like It makes sense. It was good branding.
Branding on point.
Yes. So the creatures roaming the mansion and its surrounding areas are the results of these experiments, which have exposed the mansion's personnel and various animals and insects to a highly contagious and mutagenic biological agent known as the T-virus. Also, there's a point where there's sharks.
I know.
And I found that to be very strange.
Yeah, it was just like all of a sudden there's like Big Mama Shark who will wreck your shit.
Oh no, and like she will like kill you. Like that.
Is
But
she
it's just,
mutated or is she just a
she's
shark?
big mutated.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
but it just seems so random. Like,
Why is there a shark?
one of the basements is flooded. I'm like, why do you have sharks here? Why? Who's doing this?
Nature finds a way.
Okay.
Whatever.
Jurassic Park.
Thank you.
So eventually,
Life finds a way.
I love that movie.
what's the point? Okay, so eventually the player character discovers a secret underground laboratory containing Umbrella's experiments. In the lab, here's the spoiler alert. So spoiler. The player encounters Wesker, who reveals that he is the double agent working for Umbrella.
What?
The
The guy
guys-
who wears sunglasses all the time?
And his hair has so much grease in it.
Well, that's the best part is like during his like character intro thing, he just slicks his hair back.
You can see her just like...
Exactly.
Okay. Let's see. And plans to use the Tyrant, a giant humanoid super soldier, to kill the remaining STARS members. However, in the ensuing confrontation, Wesker gets got.
He gets got by the tyrant.
Oh, just like big ol' and pale.
Frankensteined by his own creation.
Yep, it was. Ooh.
Huh.
Actually, this game was surprisingly like I knew it was like an older game. The graphics were gonna be great, but it was gory.
Mm-hmm.
Like it deserved that M rating.
When did it
The
come out
power
again?
of my
1996.
the power of my creation is only matched by its hostility.
Right.
Gets ganked,
Just
Wesker says that?
yes.
Okay.
But then Wesker.
which is also basically the same thing that they say in Alien.
Yeah. But then Wesker comes back and like it's just
He's a zombie.
the
No, he's not a zombie.
Bam.
He's like they later like kind of play it off in later games, like because
We wanted the character back.
well because they're trying to create like a super soldier kind of situation. Like that's what Umbrella's doing.
The T-virus
and
is
it
meant
turns
for
out that Wesker takes to the virus and gets mutated and gets powers and stuff
Also, the continuity of the Resident Evil games is kind of
all over the place.
hot
Loosey-goosey.
garbage. Especially considering the movies don't have anything to do with the
Oh yeah, movies have nothing. Like they're in a mansion. There's a character whose name I can't quite recall.
No.
And like there's a Red Queen who's like a computer program to protect everything.
Yep.
Honestly,
It's
as long as they're
rough.
having fun, I'm here for
As
it.
long as the bad man gets the shank.
But at the same
good.
time, the movie's still actually if you go into it saying this is not the video game Resident Evil, and you go in and watch the Resident Evil movie, it's actually okay.
Okay.
alright.
For when was it made?
Oh, early 2000s.
Okay. All right. So Wesker gets got. And plans. Okay, got that. The player character defeats the Tyrant. After activating the lab's self-destruct system, the player character reaches a heliport and manages to contact Brad for extraction, at which point the player may be confronted by Tyrant one last time. And there are multiple endings. So let's see here.
So wait, they can contact Brad even though he totally ditched them?
Well, no,
Totally, he
there was-
totally bitched out.
There was she tries contacting him a couple times during the game, but like there's like interference or something like that, and I don't.
It's him on the other side going like, shh, sorry, I can't hear you. Shh.
If I was Jill, I'd be in that microphone like, Brad, you little chicken shit, get
God
back
damn
here.
it.
Okay, so of the 4 endings, the best ending has Chris and Jill escaping the mansion alongside a third STARS member, Rebecca or Barry,
Stars.
depending on who is the player character, after defeating the Tyrant and destroying the mansion. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so at the end, I don't know if I said this. The best ending is when they blow up the mansion and destroy all the research and everyone inside.
Yay.
The second best ending has the player character Chris or Jill escaping with his or her partner Rebecca or Barry after defeating the Tyrant and destroying the mansion. The second worst ending has Jill and Chris escaping as the only 2 survivors, with the mansion still intact and the Tyrant set loose on the forest.
Ugh.
And then the worst ending has the player character as the sole survivor, with the mansion still intact and the Tyrant set loose on the forest. I'm not sure which of those ending is like considered
Canon?
canon for like the continuity of the next game.
If I remember correctly, the mansion does go boom in terms of like the canonical ending. How Raccoon City gets infected is leeches.
That's right. Those I think they're snakes actually in the game. But I think you're right. The leeches are in that.
They're the reason that it gets to Raccoon City and
Yep.
infects the whole city.
Yeah. Then shit just goes. If it wasn't already
And then,
bonkers enough.
and then the government just nukes Raccoon City.
Which one did we play on the N64?
Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
I remember that an intro sequence we were playing, terrifying.
We were so scared.
Oh, there's one bit in the beginning where like you go into like a gun store. And
it scarred me for life.
And again, it's time based. Like you can.
They are blocky people. I don't know why. It felt so real.
But you had never seen anything like that before.
I had not.
But like we were kind of taking our time in this gun store, thinking we're in a safe place, blah blah blah, and we're taking our time looking for like ammo and stuff. Next thing we know, boom, zombies crash through the front door and kill the shop owner. And
I think we turned it off.
I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did.
It just like open the port
stop.
or like pull out the cartridge.
Yep.
Also, there is that section. One of the famous or most famous sections is the dog section, where the dogs burst the window. It's. I knew it was coming.
Horrifying.
I knew exactly where it was, and it scared the piss out of me.
I was playing the new one, and the remake. Mm-hmm. They mess with you on that because they know that you're playing this game because you've played the other ones. And so, like, I was walking down that same hallway, like, oh my god, it's gonna happen, and then it didn't do it, and I was like,
oh,
wait, what?
Those blue balls.
And then I was immediately like, oh no. They're gonna mess with me on this one, aren't they?
See, that's good game design, though. That's really smart and good. I like that a lot. Okay, so as far as the reception for the first Resident Evil, it is considered one of the topmost one of the 15.
Topmost 50th.
I tried.
Topmost 50th. It's fine.
Once again, like McCall said at the beginning, like once you start trying to read things, words just.
It's so. I do my research and I'm like, God, I got this. I can read. And then I start reading it out loud and I'm like, what is this?
That's why I tell McCall, do what I do and just kind of have an idea of what you're gonna do and then just let it all just.
Oh, I have a deep cut. I can't read. Do you know what that's from?
Is it a Vine?
No, it's one of the ASDF movies.
Hell's ASDF.
Okay, it's a YouTube series. That was a deep cut.
Okay.
That was a deep cut.
If you got it.
One person in the audience will get it, and I will love that person.
What is ASDF?
ASDF was like a bunch of old like YouTube like drawn comedy things, like really like surrealist humor.
Okay.
They're very entertaining. I should send them to you sometime. There are like 15 of them. They're great.
All right.
Okay, so
right.
Resident Evil 1 is considered one of the 15 most influential games of all time, according to GameSpot.
I would agree.
Because it was also credited with defining and popularizing the survival horror genre.
Again, I would agree.
Mm-hmm. And it brought back interest in the zombie genre of fiction. So like back like in the late 90s, it was kind of waning.
Mm-hmm.
But then it brought it back, and so yeah. Let's see if we got that. Oh, and
because George A. Romero kind of like was like, all right, zombies, and like by that point they was like on Island of the Dead or whatever, and it was just really starting to be shitty.
People were like kind of getting over it, kind of bored. And like we said, the movie franchise has absolutely no relation to anything.
But in this regard, there is definitely like a waves of things.
Right.
Like there's monster movies will be popular, and then it kind of goes more towards your serial killers. Well, more slashers, then your serial killers, like your 90s, like your Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
Then it goes to your 2000s gore porn, just cutting people up horribly. And then it kind of like in the 2010s and kind of onward, it kind of really changed into like ghosts and paranormal. People were more into that.
I'm into that. That's my favorite.
When was Demons? Is that like the demon time?
That was kind of like
that was
also
in there.
And now it's funny. It's like now horror is they're really trying to elevate horror. I feel like as like an art form, like with our new with Hereditary and Midsummer and Get Out and Us, like they're really trying to like make points with their horror movies.
They are really. I like it a lot.
Well, because I know a lot of it's really rare for a horror movie to win any sort of awards. As far as like
the only two to my knowledge are Silence of the Lambs, which swept the Oscar.
Oh, for good goddamn reason.
And is one of the only like instances of a horror movie doing that well. Linda Blair was nominated for an Oscar, and so was
That's Exorcist.
Yeah, for The Exorcist, and so was oh no, I can't think of her name. The girl who played Carrie. Oh no, what's her name?
Susie Spacek.
Thank you, Sissy
Spacek. Also, Brendan had it.
He did. Sissy Spacek.
I technically said Susie, so my bad.
Dr. Seuss's daughter, Susie Spacek.
So also a couple other little trivia things about the game. So it was the primary inference. It was the primary.
Maybe we should get you alcohol just so you have an excuse.
I just can't talk. It was one of the primary influences for the script for 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Let's see here. It was called Biohazard in Japan.
It is. Yep.
And they changed it for the U.S. release because they said it would be impossible to copyright it in the U.S. And they also made the U.S. version harder. because so in Japan, or the Japanese version, they had auto aim, and
Oh my God.
I know, like auto aim headshots, and they were also going to take out. So in America there was no auto aim, and in America they were going to take out the chest system, so that you couldn't. So if you left an item in one save spot, you had to go all the way back to that save spot. It wouldn't appear in other ones. But they're like, no, we shouldn't do that. And the reason they made it harder is because they wanted to exploit the really popular video game renting culture.
Yeah.
So that people couldn't finish it in a couple days, so they have to return it and then rent it again so they can make more money. So again, corporate greed.
Blockbuster.
And it became one of the first action games to receive the mature 17 plus rating, and it was mainly due to the opening cutscene, which they heavily censored in the American version.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, like in the Japanese version, you like see him get ripped to shreds or like something like that.
I'd say one of the other most iconic scenes from that game is the first time you see a zombie.
Yep.
And it bites into the neck of one of the guys and rips it apart, and you just see his head drop to the floor, and it's been like partially eaten.
Cool.
It's pretty iconic. And like it recently, what was I just watching where they referenced that? Like I was just watching either a movie or I was playing a game where they referenced that exact bit where like they bit through someone's neck and like their head fell to the floor and did the exact same thing.
Huh. Oh, and also, the mansion was inspired by the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. Like the
layout,
the whole layout and everything. Also, the layout of this mansion is insane.
and it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. And also, it reminds me of have you ever done those like escape rooms?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that.
It should have been. Yeah, it's like why is your door lock system related to gemstones that are like in
Going to work every day for these scientists must have sucked.
Oh yeah.
God, I gotta get the gemstone, son of a bitch.
You think there's heavy security now, or like heavy like rules now during COVID? No. Go work for Umbrella.
I'd say the mansion
mansion.
should have been more modeled after the Winchester mansion, where it's like doors to nowhere.
Yep.
Like
I want to go there so bad.
I do too.
Like really bad.
Are they still building it? Are they still building onto it?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they stopped after
She died.
she died.
She
I
passed
was
away
say
a while
after
ago, didn't
Winchester died. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to go there. I just started thinking about it now.
Also, back in the day, it did get really high scores on from reviewing sites. Although everyone was like, the voice acting is terrible, just ignore it.
Even back then, they were like voice acting garbage.
But they're like, if you ignore that, it's still a really good game.
It's really hard to.
There's a giant F-off spider in there too.
What?
There's a big spider boss in it.
Are you talking about the snake?
No, there's a tiger, or it's called like the tiger or something like that.
Maybe I blacked that out.
It's like a giant tarantula that you have to fight.
But like in some of the puzzles in this game, like there's a big old plant you have to kill.
Yep.
But not the big old plant. Not the second one, but the first one.
No, the one where you have to like
pour chemicals.
Yes.
I'm like, how would you ever figure that out?
It took me a minute. I was like running around, just like, how am I supposed to? I can't shoot this thing.
I absolutely got lost a lot.
Oh yeah.
They give you a map, but I'm just like, I don't
know.
Oh,
and then in the remake, they made it bigger. It's actually funny. You can actually kill Barry at one point.
Did you kill Barry?
No, I didn't kill Barry, even though I really wanted his Magnum. But
that's fair.
Well, because then it's like when you kill him, if he dies, he drops like a locket saying like "to my beloved wife," and it's like, oh, I felt bad.
Well, now I gotta feel
Gross.
bad about him. God damn it, Barry.
Okay,
Barry
so let's see
Burton.
here.
Why you gotta have a family and a
And
life?
a daughter.
Also, the tone of this game is everywhere. That's one thing I'll say. They hadn't really figured out, like, do they want to do more humor or more like horror and gore?
Jill sandwich.
A Jill sandwich.
And like, there's a couple times where they're just like having a hearty laugh after they've like watched one of their team members just like get brutally murdered,
Brutalized.
And I'm just like, what?
You know what's
Why?
funny? And to talk about the Jill sandwich thing, for the longest time, I didn't realize at one point you find a broken shotgun, and you're supposed to take the real shotgun and put the broken shotgun on the shelf, so then the room doesn't shut.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm a dumbass.
Well, and it's also just like without a manual to look at or like any sort of tutorial, how would you know that you can even do something like that? It's like one of those just really. There's one game in the 90s that was a really specific point and click game. I can't remember what it was called, but it was very well known for its difficulty, which is like really weird abstract puzzles that no one could figure out until like the advent of the internet and people could actually talk to each other about it. So yeah.
Well, was that a point and click?
Yeah, it was a point and click.
It was it
was like the goat,
the goat puzzle.
Yes, it was the goat puzzle.
The goat puzzle. It's like sword something. Oh my god.
I'm looking it up because it.
But yeah, there was an infamous goat puzzle, and the reason it was
Broken
so
sword.
broken sword. I was like, it's sword, but it's like the reason that it was so hard was because up until that point, a timed kind of event puzzle hadn't been introduced. So it's like people didn't realize they had to wait until the goat bucked forward, then they can go forward.
Yep. So I'm just looking at all the notes that I've written down. I'm just like, let's see here. One of my favorite ones is in all caps, "Oh fuck me, a shark."
Oh yeah, I when I got down there and it was a flooded basement, I was like, oh no, water things, because I don't like
A crocodile
water.
would have at least
See, I
made
feel like that
more
would have
sense.
been more sensible.
I don't
agree.
like lakes and crocodiles either. I would have been.
I feel like a crocodile would have been scarier.
In later games, you go against a giant mutated crocodile.
Bam.
I think it's the fourth one.
When you are playing through, so one of the reviews I didn't agree with, they said they really liked how they used music in this game, which
The
I had to.
music is very like.
Well, it's so random. And I feel because sometimes the music will play when nothing, like you're just walking down the hallway back to someplace you've already been and like complete a puzzle. You get like a little thing of music, but when you're being, attacked by zombies, like some big story things happening,
all you hear is.
it's dead silent. Those zombie noises are. I heard them in a dream last night.
They're
in my
actually
mind.
pretty creepy.
They are.
One thing that's interesting in the remaster, the remake, whatever you want to call it, they also in the original one, you killed a zombie, it's dead. In this one, you kill a zombie and its body stays there. And once you reach a certain point in the game, if you don't burn the body of that zombie, it could come back as a harder enemy.
Yeah, those are.
It's like no, they call it a red. It's like called a crimson head is what it's called, and it's faster, it's more powerful, and it takes a lot more to kill it.
Damn.
Here's the catch: there's not enough matches and oil to burn all of them. So eventually, you're gonna run into a crimson head.
See, that's good game design. That makes chef's kiss.
And it's like literally every time you kill a zombie, you have to kind of be like, all right, is this the one I burn, or do I wait until
Also,
later?
I love in this game how hilariously strong the main characters are. I mean, like I know Chris is supposed to be like this big burly cop dude, but they're shoving aside entire bookcases and huge armoires full of stuff. And
I can do you one better. Resident Evil 5.
Punching a boulder.
He punches a boulder in a volcano. He just keeps punching it. That final boss fight, I played it with Kaya. That final boss fight against Albert Wesker took us, I think, a full day. Just because it wanted, at one point, Sheva, regardless of what you do, kind of falls off, and I was playing Sheva and he was playing Chris. And I literally had to set the controller down and be like slamming the X button. Otherwise, it wouldn't register, and it's like I would fall off, and I'm like, what the hell?
That is one of the more infamous moments in the Resident Evil where fans jump ship.
And then after that one, they were like, all right,
Okay.
Chris is not on roids anymore. We kind of make him a little more reasonably
like a 2-ton boulder and just boom.
And his arms what's Hulk Hogan, bigger than his head,
Yep.
But at least they gave the gays everything they want, and they gave him a sailor outfit that's like a crop top
and like those little booty shorts
and little booty shorts.
Also, one of my favorite parts of the game was when Jill just sat down and started playing Moonlight Sonata.
At one point she just
I was
let me whip that out.
Also, once again, the security in this place is wild, and it would suck to be a scientist.
Oh yeah, to get this key you have to go play Moonlight Sonata. Hopefully you know that.
Good luck.
You've taken piano. Bye.
Oh, that reminds me. There was an old meme that was these robbers trying to break into a place, and it's this guy's giving them their codes, and he's like, "Tell us or we'll break your hands." And he's like, "No, I won't." And they break his hands, and then he's like, "Fine, it's this," and then a keyboard flops out, and they're like, "What do we have to do now?" And it's like, the next step is you have to play Moonlight Sonata, and I'm the only one with the hands to do it.
Fuck you, you fools! All right, well that is what I had on Resident Evil 1. It was I will admit, if you're going to play it, I would recommend getting it. If you're going to play the original, get it on the original PlayStation, because
track that down.
Because playing it on a ROM sucks. And if you can't do that, then just get the remaster remake on. It's on PC and
Swatch.
Swatch
on the Swatch. Or you get on GameCube if you still have a GameCube.
Yeah, I do.
Or your Wii if you have it on the. If you can play GameCube games on the Wii.
I have my GameCube, and it still runs great.
I have things about I have
Oh
thoughts
my
about the GameCube.
God.
Why? I love it.
Have I told this story on the podcast?
Oh my god, I don't care. I've heard it so much.
No, dude, regale me.
Long story short, I wanted a GameCube for Christmas. My dad got me a GameCube for Christmas. Mom returned the GameCube, bought a PlayStation because it could play DVDs and CDs. And I wasn't told this until years later. My dad was like, "Oh no, I had bought you that GameCube. I bought it. I set it up in the garage. I'd already been playing Double Dash and Smash Brothers on there just to so I could help you and play with you when you opened it. And then your mom returned it and got a PlayStation."
Did you even know about this?
No, not until years later. And then
Not until a couple years later, and oh ho ho.
But no, the best part about it was then because at the time at Christmas when we came down and saw the PlayStation, we were like, "Oh, PlayStation!" Da, da, da. And at one point, Dad just goes, "Well, it looks like the PlayStation wasn't a very big hit." And at first, I thought he was being like we were ungrateful because we didn't Turns out he was actually totally slamming my mother for returning the GameCube.
I personally loved the PlayStation 2. I played
no.
Crash Bandicoot.
We played the hell out of Dark Alliance, Baldur's Gate. We definitely got some great we got mileage out of that PlayStation 2.
Are you going to play Baldur's Gate 3 when they finally release the full thing?
Is it going to be like a regular Baldur's Gate game where it's not the same as Baldur's Gate?
It looks pretty good.
It looks like, I don't know if you've ever played Divinity Original Sin.
No.
Okay. It's very like D&D, but it's a D&D video game.
Can I bull
exactly
rush?
What it is.
That's
yes.
all I need.
Bull Rush is a...
Bull rush.
Yes, you can.
You can be the dwarf character. I'll be the elven sorceress.
God damn it. You're always the hot lady and I was the dwarf.
Well, to be fair, they really didn't give you very many options.
No.
But you could have just been the normal dude.
No, because one,
humans are boring.
The human archer was boring. Two, the dwarven guy was okay.
He was cool.
Not only was the sexy elf a sexy female elf, she also was the only magic user, and I like using magic.
I had magic. I had bull rush. And I annoyed you with it, so I
served my purpose.
You just charged straight in.
No, because
I charged straight off into the distance. I die, and I'd be like, "Logan, bring me back."
And then I would purposely, because in that game, the mechanic was if somebody died, you could go back to a save point and they just respawn. There were times where she was being such a poop about it, I would just avoid every save spot until I absolutely had to.
Out of spite.
Because I was like, no, you're going to go jump off the edge? You're done.
The best motivator is spite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, well, that was Resident Evil 1.
Woo!
Or as it's just known, Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. Totally different than the movie, but like I said earlier, if you want to watch the Resident Evil movie and tell yourself, this is not the video game, it's actually a fun watch. It's a fun one to work out to because there's a lot of action sequences. I know Dad works out to that one a lot.
Your dad works out to movies?
Yeah, he generally will he'll put if he's gonna
watch a movie
if he's gonna be on a treadmill or something,
got it.
he'll yeah. I do too. I watch Kung Fu Panda, and I'll tell you what.
I fucking love Kung Fu Panda.
We'll do that one on the podcast.
That's a good one.
Just slowly, more and more get away from horror as you go on.
Well, we already did Showgirls.
You just needed to do
Honestly,
it. You had to get it out of your system.
One of my favorite ones was when you did Drop Dead Gorgeous, which people die.
Yeah,
people die.
I really had to stretch with that one.
But people die. It's
She's skinny, Amber, not deaf.
Deaf.
God, was it flying through the air like a goddamn lawn dart?
That's one of my favorite lines. It's like a goddamn lawn dart.
I like that movie.
All right. Well,
so Logan's got to get out Old Faithful because he's got a booger in his nose.
Booger. Oh God.
You had a booger this whole time, and I'm like, nope, there it is.
I need to wait for the
Wait, lift your head up. Is it gone?
No,
it's
still
there.
there.
Yeah, all right.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
No, I always have a booger, and I always try to take care of it.
And a new one takes its place.
Well, no, I saw. I think it's because I have a lot of nose hair, and I actually found a nose hair wax kit.
What the fuck?
And basically,
that hurts.
Basically, you just coat
so
a thing, and then you just jam basically a Q-tip up your nose and just rip it out. And I was like, I can deal with it.
Chris does that. My husband does that.
Tyler's a gay. I don't know if you figured that out.
Hi. If you can't, we had someone on the stream the other day be like, "You sound like," I don't know if you were there or not, but they're like, "You sound like James Charles. I like your content," and then they're like, "Follow," and left. And I was like, "Okay,
thanks.
Cool."
Support.
And as I listen back and I've been told I sound like James Charles before, and I'm like, "Great."
I get told I just sound like a woman.
Ma'am.
Woman.
But it's over the phone.
Over the phone. Yes.
Oh, it was so funny. The other day at work, I got ma'amed, and then as I talked, I guess I got lower because all of a sudden it switched to sir. He realized what he had done. But anyway, should we take a quick break?
Booger break!
Quick booger break.
Woo! Logan got his booger out.
I hope. I can still feel something in there, but that's just kind of a perpetual thing.
Have you waxed your nose yet?
No.
Oh, it's gonna suck.
It hurts.
I don't care.
I've done it. It hurts.
I'm gonna have to wait for the hairs to grow back because I took a cuticle scissors and I was like up in there like snipping some stuff.
Jesus
Dad, don't do
Christ,
that.
What
Why?
the hell?
Whatever.
You're gonna. I mean,
You're gonna not know math anymore. You're gonna
I wasn't
snip
like
your brain.
I wasn't like all the way up like coronavirus
I
test,
really-
like touching my brain.
I really like how you're implying that he knows math to begin with.
I don't.
Boom. Neither
that's
of
not
us
even,
do.
It's not even a boom. A ginger boom.
Brendan tried to get me to do long division a couple
Oh.
days ago, and it was bad.
I used to tutor students, and my 5th graders had gotten into long division. I was like, I had to stop and be like, how do I do this again?
Wait a minute.
I remember. I'll say this to the day I die. I think the reason I'm bad at math is because when we went from Burnsville to Lakeville,
Oh my God.
they had just started multiplication in Burnsville, and when I went to Lakeville, they were just finishing division. So there's like a gap there, and I've been playing catch up ever since.
I'm talking about.
Wait,
I'm gonna freaking kill you.
no matter how many times I do that, you always.
Oh, I'm past here. I am past here. Okay, I'm gonna do MK Ultra because we're talking about testing on people and blah, 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 blah. And Tyler doesn't even know what MK Ultra is.
I have heard of it, but I could not tell you what. Like I've heard that in like pop culture, but I don't know exactly what it is.
People in pop culture use it a lot. So, okay, I got my information from. I really hope that I'm still getting it in the mic because I'm not facing it. So, I got my information from Wikipedia, History.com, the Smithsonian Magazine.com, .gov.
.org.edu.
Yes, the Fifth Estate documentary and some YouTube video by Answers with Joe. He talked about it. Okay, so MK Ultra is a CIA mind control program that the government started with.
Don't read her notes. She doesn't like it.
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
reacting. No, I'm
She
like,
doesn't
what?
like it. She yells at you.
Which is why I think you put your computer where it is.
This works perfectly. So they used human subjects, and they
Willing or unwilling.
Yes, some were willing.
I do know about MK Ultra.
I had a period of time where I was getting really into conspiracies, and I told the whole family about it. So is that where you heard it from, or
No, I watch a YouTube channel. I actually watch several YouTube channels, but the one was a Lazy Masquerade, and he talked about it in one of his segments.
it's interesting?
He's a really cool voice. I recommend listening.
All right. So they just basically like made people really high, or like they hypnotized them. They were trying to like induce forced confessions and achieve mind control.
Have you ever been hypnotized?
No, I remember they had a hypnotist
I
come
wanted
in.
to be
No,
hypnotized so
I
bad.
tried. I was like sitting there. I'm like, I want it, and then I
wanna
was
do
like,
it.
and then I was just like, I feel.
So I have been hit by like one of those like it was my freshman year of college. I was hypnotized, like one of those like
By a performer.
By a performer, yes. But it's so weird because he'll say to do something. The way I experienced it, he said to do something. My mind said no, but I couldn't like before I could even realize it. My body was like dancing the Charleston or something like that. It was wild.
I was watching a video of like one of those hypnotists doing something, and they were like, "Oh, you're an alien. When you wake up, you're gonna be an alien, and we're interviewing you like this thing." And he's like, "Hey, welcome to our show. What's it like being an alien?" And the guy just looks up and goes,
That's authentic. I can vouch.
I thought
That's
that was
good.
So
hilarious.
I can attest. I have been hypnotized, and it was very strange.
That I really wanted to be. Which I don't know why I wanted to be, because when you are watching the performance, I can't enjoy it anymore if I'm hypnotized.
Well, the thing is, the only thing I really remember is him saying dance, and I started dancing, but all the other commands were just like, I don't remember a thing.
Well, and then it's like, part of me is like, I think the reason I wanted it because I like performing.
You do like
but
it.
It wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be me performing. It'd be me performing almost against my will.
I say you don't even remember.
No,
so
not really.
I mean, then you're just missing out. Mm-hmm. But anyway, this is less fun than that.
Yeah. Because it was more about like military stuff,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Okay.
Forced confessions. Oh boy.
So it was a project by the Office of Scientific Intelligence, or the CIA, and it was coordinated by the U.S. Army Biological Warfare Laboratories. I don't know why I want to say laboratories. I don't live in England.
Dexter's laboratory.
Well, that's how it's spelled.
Laboratories. Makes me feel...
Didi, get on my laboratory.
Okay, he's Italian now, I guess.
Shit, that was a really
Get
bad.
out of my laboratory!
What you doing?
Boppity boopity.
Exactly.
And then the other names for the project are Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke. which I love.
Why artichoke?
I don't know. I should have looked into that.
That's delightful.
Uh, one guy was having fun, or he was laced with LSD.
Did they use LSD?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy.
So the project began in 1953. Basically, it's the Cold War. It's the Cold War. I'm sorry, the Cold War.
We're super cash. The Cold War.
You know. And then, so the Cold War, if you don't know history, which I don't, was from 1950 to 1960. And the U.S. was under the impression that the Soviets, the Chinese, and the North Koreans were, like, they had unlocked mind control, and they were using it on U.S. POWs during the Korean War. So they were like, cool, let's do it ourselves. And
If they're doing it, we can do it too.
we can do it better. So they had this whole
Remember
thing.
the moon landing?
They were like really paranoid about the Soviets, so they were trying to like one up them at all times, like Sputnik and blah blah
Yep.
blah blah. I don't know a lot about it, but
It was a very weird. This is like was this around McCarthyism?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
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 It was a very strange time.
Alan Dulles,
What a strange time to be alive.
not like now.
Not like
No,
Now
no,
it's
no.
a piece of
No,
cake.
this is normal.
So Alan Dulles was the director of the CIA at the time, and he was like, let's just, go against what's the thing?
Humanity.
No, I mean, yeah. What's the thing with the Nazis? They made the
The Nuremberg trials.
Nuremberg
Oh, okay.
laws. They were like,
Yeah.
let's just, fuck all that. I know that just happened, but forget it. Let's just do our own thing.
I know that literally just happened.
That is literally history. They're like, here's a treaty, and then one nation's like, nah. So every nation's like, nah.
Nah.
That's how good treaties work.
Yeah.
They signed something saying, okay, in the future,
The Treaty of Versailles.
no testing on people without their consent. And everyone nodded and then said, okay, let's destroy the place.
Testing on people.
Everyone collectively stood up and said, we're going to test on people.
Let's do it. So, one of the reasons they did it
Oh, you have
was...
to test on rabbits, monkeys, mice.
What was that?
That's from the brain that wouldn't die.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Let me die, please.
Please. So, they wanted to control the Soviets by using drugs, blah, blah, blah. But some of the
Drugs.
other reasons they did it was to promote the intoxicating effects of alcohol, to render the induction of hypnosis easier, to enhance the ability of individuals to withstand provocation, torture, or coercion, to produce amnesia, shock, and
She
confusion.
doesn't like when you read your notes.
I'm listening.
I'm not reading.
Why don't you yell at him?
I can't read.
He's a guest.
He's allowed to read.
See, but the
can do
thing
whatever he
is, I don't
wants.
interrupt her with being like, "What's that?"
No,
You read that word wrong, you idiot.
you misspelled that, you dumb. Yeah, dude. I spit on your research.
Also, I'm looking at her engaged, and then it's like it's right there.
Yeah, it's like right in front of... What? Don't blame him.
I'm doing the speech thing. I'm just looking at your forehead.
That's fair. Are we...
MK
Okay,
Ultra.
and we're back. So, some of the techniques were using psychedelic drugs, using paralytics, shock therapy, and hypnosis. So, they did testing at U.S. universities, hospitals, prisons in the U.S., and they did it in Canada. Without the Canadian government... What?
Did you know that there's a sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show called Shock Therapy?
What?
Yes, and it's
no.
bad. It's bad. It's really
It's
bad.
bad.
It's really
What?
bad.
Yeah. So I said Shock Therapy. Like, this will be relevant.
They tried to capture the magic of the first one, they failed miserably.
So back.
I mean, I feel like the first one had magic for the first half, and then it kind of peters out.
It does. The pacing is wrong.
It gets weird.
Also,
but
the house has no. We were talking about how fucked up the house from Resident Evil was.
Rocky Horror doesn't
No,
make.
There's like a roller rink in there. It's just wild.
I love it. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Where am I? What's
So I
happening?
said, you said Shock Therapy.
Okay, so they did it from 1953 to 1964. They kept poor records. What? And then they destroyed most of them for some
course.
weird reason.
Because they didn't want to be implicated for crimes against humanity.
Or
In
whatever.
international courts.
Yeah.
It's fine. So there were 162 different secret projects. They were indirectly financed by the CIA. There were about 80 institutions that were doing it. and there were 185 researchers who were working on this at one time.
Does this have anything to do? Is this like what the Fallout universe was based on?
Kind of, probably.
Okay, because that sounds
Kinda probably, maybe, I
that
don't know.
180 or that, what was it, 162? That sounds. There were a lot of vaults, and I think the number might have been like 162 or something like that.
It is entirely possible. I do know that the vaults were like each vault was like
They were like
a
these,
social
yeah.
experiment.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which
So-
is like, it's so funny. It's like, oh, we're gonna make these vaults to save people, but also we're totally
Well,
gonna
So
experiment
when,
on
when nuclear fallout, when nuclear war happens, we're also gonna like learn some things and torture people because
and leak in radiation to see just what happens.
What happens to them? Maybe.
Sorry, when you said 162, I was like that. Something seems familiar here.
That's neato. I want to play Fallout. I haven't played it, so I don't know, but it
It's
looks
good.
cool.
Yeah.
That's the one with the little cartoon guy. That's
Yeah.
got a thumb up. Got it. Okay.
Really, really happy vibe and really depressing atmosphere.
Woo! Okay, so they had lots of different fronts for like funding projects by different scientists because they didn't want people to know it was like the government. So then they had like scientists being like, "I'm doing this for the greater good."
They had Umbrella
Yeah.
come in.
Kind of, yeah. And like they were just like, "Do your thing, just test on people." What?
They're like, but what if this? And they said, no, test. Shut your mouth. It's
Shut
alcohol.
your mouth. Test on subjects. And the scientist was like, "Okay." So
To create some.
So now we
torture.
we identified 185 sociopaths.
Yeah. Or some people, there was like one guy that just like, he was, I think, an anthropologist or some shit, but he made like a documentary on like African witch doctors because that was something he was studying because he was a professor and he got funding for it and it was like, sweet. And he made a cool documentary. And then later he found out the CIA was like, we wanted to see if we can mind control people with like witch doctor
Jesus
shit.
Christ.
And he was like,
He was like, are you people insane?
what?
Excuse me.
I thought you wanted real science.
I'm a
Like-
professor.
Also, that's where zombies come from. I don't know.
So.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah, yep. Since we were talking about zombies, witchcraft.
So, the main way, our towels are, I don't know, they're all
They're
coming
fine. Oh,
towards
no,
me.
we're moving the mic.
Oh, dear God. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Leave
This
it.
was me.
Leave it.
Leave it. No one move. So, the main thing they did, one of their favorites was LSD. Because it was
They're
kind of,
They'd like, one for you, one
One
for
for
me.
One for the cook.
Yeah.
they were like, it was new. Like, people didn't know, it wasn't a recreational drug that people were like,
Not like
Do
now.
You got demons in your blood. Do cocaine about
do
it.
cocaine
Exactly.
about it. So, they were using
It reminds me of that like medicine bottle that was like alcohol, cocaine,
Mercury.
It was like all these things. And it's like, yeah, it's hard to have a cold when you're in a coma. Like,
That's Benadryl though. You can't have allergies when you're in a coma.
So the main thought with LSD was that they could harness the sheer mind-altering powers of LSD with brainwashing and torture to make like a human robot that would do whatever you said. Pretty much. And they're like, let's find some people that don't want to do this. And then they like found some test subjects. So it was really new. No one really knew about it. But at the time, the Soviets were buying up a lot of LSD, which made the Americans think, so they are doing mind control. So then the Americans started buying all the LSD.
meanwhile, Soviet Union was just like, nah, we just want
We-
to have a party.
It's really depressing here. Give us let us
I
have
would
this.
love some acid.
Give us this one thing for God's sake.
That was pretty
Oh
good.
god, this must have made so many fucked up people.
So,
Oh.
so the subjects were defined, the people that were involuntarily used were people who could not fight back, which was the definition that I think the CIA gave. So it was mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, cancer patients, and sex workers. Other people who were involved were CIA employees, military personnel, doctors, government agents, and most of these people were given it without their consent. Even like CIA officers and shit. Like,
Hey, guess what? You've been reassigned to MK Ultra. Oh, cool. Like, I'm gonna help out the scientists in a way.
Sure.
kinda. Like,
You betcha.
it's what I like to think of it as, which maybe it was like this. you're like a CIA agent and you go into the office and you have your morning coffee and then you're like, oh no.
The walls start melting.
And you're like, fuck.
And then there's like a
You
whole team
didn't
of
drink out of
scientists.
that wall.
Like your superior would be like, hey Ted, look over there. And then he just like put some LSD in your cup and be like,
He would just laugh to himself.
The way you did that is just so sociopathic.
and then they would like, a doctor would come out from the corner and just start writing in a notepad. And you'd be like, no.
And then you'd be like, why is he doing the?
It's my children's concert tonight. Oh god, jeez.
Fuck.
He's like, bright side. That concert is gonna look super
Really
cool.
good.
You're gonna hear those sounds. You're gonna see
See
those
those
sounds
sounds.
so
You're
good.
gonna feel those
See
sounds.
It's me Muppets
See
4D.
See those sounds, hear them colors. Mwah.
right before you get
And then
to
you
the-
might go into a coma.
And then you might die.
But like the main thing, they weren't like, it wasn't like a fun drug trip. It was like a,
It wasn't like a cool one.
you get laced with something and then you get like put in an interrogation room and then someone's screaming at you and
Oh
you're
my
like,
God.
I mean, I don't know. And they're like, we're gonna make you keep hallucinating if you don't tell us what we need to know. And you're like, I'll tell you anything, I swear. And that was most of the
Jesus
testing.
Christ.
So, some of the famous people that were in MK Ultra, which I thought were interesting, is Whitey Bulger, who was like a mobster ? It was in the 50s. I don't know, but he was a guy who was in it. The Unabomber was
When you say
one of the people.
involved, you mean we're test
He
subjects?
was tested on because he
Okay.
was in prison, and they're like, "We'll knock some years off your sentence if you do some acid about it." And he was like, "Okay."
If you want to trip some balls for us.
And later he was
God.
like, "That like fucked me up, you guys." And they're like, "Sucks."
Sucks.
And then the guy, I should have, as a professional, I should have written his name down, but I didn't. The guy who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was one of the
Oh.
people too.
That makes actually that's also a really good movie.
So
Oscar.
that author, whose name I didn't write down.
Did you watch the Netflix series on the nurse, Ratched?
No.
There is a hilariously there's a sex scene and you see penis, but it's hilariously massive. It's literally like a forearm prosthetic.
Oh, okay.
And
I
I'm
thought
like,
it was like
why-
his real dick.
No, but like I was like, why did you do
Ken
that?
Casey. Or Kesey.
Ken Kesey.
I would
Casey.
recommend Ratched. It's good.
Kesey.
Kesey. I don't know. He wrote that movie. Whatever. Book?
Book.
Fuck. All right.
It was a book and then it was made into a movie.
Anyway. So, blah, 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 blah. It killed a couple people. Blah, 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 blah.
Glossing over that.
A couple people died.
Important.
You know what that was? That was, can I go back to work now, girls? Yes. Fly, 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 fly. Pow. Fly, 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 fly.
One of the projects that they worked on was Operation Midnight Climax,
That sounds hot.
which is what you think it is.
Okay.
Sex?
Kind of.
Okay.
Interesting.
The CIA got a bunch of sex workers, made some brothels. They would entice men to come hang out with the sex workers. They would dose them with shit, and then they'd watch them through a one-way mirror and like film
While being like,
They,
There's a lot of Jergens lotion in there.
they dose the dude.
I feel like we're laughing about this in a
It
way
is
to like
not okay.
It is not okay.
Okay.
And I've said this like one of our first episodes. I was like, we're laughing about this as a way to kind of make ourselves
to cope with it.
to cope with like how fucked up this is.
Because this was not a video game or movie. This was real.
But can you imagine
really
the
happened.
scientist who was like, let's watch people have sex while on LSD?
What do
And
you
then they're
think?
like, like, Gerald, what the fuck?
And one
also,
guy was like,
also
wait a
how do
minute.
we get this happening?
You're a genius.
So like basically they just watch these dudes.
Carl, that kills people.
I did not know that. They would just like watch these dudes have sex and then they'd film it for like later research in quotations. And then that was
it's
it.
eerie how you can make that noise so well.
Have I practiced it a lot? Yes. The answer is yes.
Cheeks are too full.
You're doing it.
You're smiling like you have to like be.
It's hard. Have you ever tried to whistle when someone's looking at you?
Yes.
It's
Oh,
impossible.
I can't whistle anyway, so.
You can't
Oh.
whistle.
No, I can't whistle.
I'll teach you.
I'll teach you.
Can you do this?
But he can make this noise.
What?
Can you do this? See, you can do it. It's the
spit.
tongue. It's
Spit everywhere.
it's the tongue on the back. Yeah, that.
Isn't this fun, audience?
Can you pop your tongue?
I cannot do that.
Can you
I do
make
not have a
these
tongue made of
noises?
wood.
At home. Okay. So there were a couple issues with Project Midnight Climax,
What?
other
Such
than
a
the
great
obvious
name.
ones.
I would say other than the blatantly
It was
obvious.
mostly the obvious ones. The agents who were involved admitted that it had a party-like atmosphere.
Oh, I don't
which-
like that.
That's gross.
That is gross.
Guys ready for Operation Midnight Climax?
Ready for your shift tonight?
Also, why the hell would they call it
Operation Midnight Climax.
They're having
Operation
fun.
Big Spooge? Like,
I pictured just the whole office is just like high as a kite, constantly like, it would be a good name, you guys. Midnight Climax.
And then they'll never go for that. Then it comes back called that, and you're like, God damn it.
God damn it.
nobody
So-
else suggested anything.
La 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 la. Okay, they filmed it and they used the videos of the men having sex with sex workers as blackmail for later things. So that's cool.
I mean, this was the 50s. That would be,
Yeah.
blackmail back
That'd
then.
be a big one. And then George White.
Blackmail, jury duty.
George White was the man who was in charge of that project. Direct quote from him. If you want to get like a vibe for like the people who are handling this, in quotes, where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, cheat, steal, rape, and pillage with the sanction and blessing of the All-Highest? So,
Jesus Christ.
he's cool, he's honest.
Sociopath?
Yeah, no, he's not. I mean, he was in charge, so it had a bad vibe. It stopped in 1963 when the CIA heard about like all the weird shit they were doing, and they're like, okay, let's stop that. That's
Jacking
no.
off on shift? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No.
But they're like, but we'll keep the sex workers and we'll do other shit.
Oh,
Jesus.
no.
They had other projects with the sex workers.
Oh, God.
I didn't get like a good idea of what, but I know that
I'm sure it involves sex.
they continued sex rings and stuff. So not great.
Jesus.
Some other subjects some of the people who actually volunteered for the program, they got it way worse because they volunteered. So they're like, so we can do anything to these guys because they said yeah. So that meant they were way more severe. One example was 7 volunteers from Kentucky had LSD for 77 consecutive days.
Oh my God.
So they were on a trip for 77 days.
Oh my God.
I'm surprised they lived that long.
I'm sure some of them didn't.
I didn't hear like a follow-up to like how that ended.
They just said that. So by the way, this happened. Don't ask questions.
I don't know what happened to those 77. No, not 7. Those 7 dudes, if they're like, all right.
Jesus Christ.
But I'm sure that affected them somehow. Blah, 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 blah. So there was a risk of being dosed at work and not knowing it until you're like fucked. But one example is Frank Olson, who was a chemist who worked. He was dosed by his superior named Sidney Gottlieb, who actually was kind of in charge of the whole program at that time. He had introduced LSD to the CIA, like, let's fuck with this shit. So he dosed him, and then 9 days later, Frank Olson committed suicide, in quotes, from jumping off his 13th story New York building.
Jesus.
It said he was like, he became depressed after being dosed, and that's why he committed suicide. But then there's a lot of people who think it's a conspiracy theory because Frank Olson had requested to not be in the MK Ultra project because he was like, this
I've heard
is
some shit
morally
about
not
it.
great.
Yeah.
I don't like dosing strangers who didn't agree to be here. And then apparently he was being used by Gottlieb as like a little puppet, like do whatever I want, I'll dose
Jesus.
ya. And then a lot of his injuries that he experienced weren't conducive to falling.
Like there were things
He had a bunch of other injuries that were like, I don't know. It was probably suicide. That's how it ended. That was the report was, I don't know. And then, yeah. So,
Isn't it funny and infuriating how many times that happens?
isn't it funny?
You think when you're growing up and you hear about like government institutions, you think it's like all well run, like the bureaucracy is working well. Then you get older and you realize like this is all garbage.
It's corrupt. People are...
Files go missing all the time.
These files
And
sure
people.
did.
And people.
So, they didn't just use LSD. Here were some other things they used. They used heroin, morphine, temazepam,
See, now if I...
temazepam.
If I was looking at it, maybe I could...
No, you don't get to know.
Yeah.
Mescaline, psilocybin, scopolamine,
There are like med
alcohol,
students out there that are just like,
sodium pentothal, which is the truth drug or whatever. One tactic they used, which it doesn't sound, because I just listened to the last podcast to the left. No, they didn't. It was a long time ago. But I listened to the one where they did on Joseph Mengele, the Nazi doctor that did all those experiments, which there was no scientific basis. It was just...
He just want to torture people.
It was just torturing people, which is what this one sounds like, is they would inject a barbiturate in one arm, and then they would inject
she's reading everybody.
amphetamine. Jesus Christ.
Looks like I picked a bad day to quit amphetamines.
So you get a barbiturate, and then you get an amphetamine, and they're like, what'll happen?
What could possibly go wrong?
Cardiac arrest.
So you get an upper, and then you get a downer. The person would just babble incoherently. They couldn't stop talking. In some cases, they would get answers to any questions asked, but like most of the tests, it didn't mean anything.
Say like
it's just torture.
And like that's not admissible in court either.
No.
Yeah. So that's, the sort of stuff they were doing. The documentary that I watched, The Fifth Estate, was produced or whatever in 1980. And it had a couple of the subjects who were from Canada in it, because it was a U.S. thing. And then they were taking people in Canada and doing it, which is like... I mean, it was not good in the first place, but now they're like involving other countries.
Like it could be an international incident.
I was like, that could create an international.
Because
they fought wars for less.
Yeah. So like the Canadian government did not know that they were testing on people. So one of the institutions that was in Canada was the Cameron. No. Sorry.
Was the Cameron? No.
No. The Allen Estate was a mental hospital that was used. And Dr. Donald Cameron was the guy who was doing the MK Ultra research. He was experimenting on the idea of psychic driving, which is super interesting. If you watched Hannibal, it's in there. So it's kind of like that if you watch Hannibal. But basically they're trying to reprogram people. Because
sounds unethical.
in this doctor's defense, I think he was presented with a front, so he didn't know it was the CIA trying to mind wash people, brainwash people.
And he's just like, the government's like, oh yeah, we're not going to use this for any evil.
It's cool.
Here's a whole bunch of money.
It sounds like he was a
bamboozled,
a psychiatric doctor who was trying to reprogram people because he wanted to, like,
he wanted to help people.
So was the guy who invented lobotomies.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
If you had a behavior you didn't want or was negative, he would reprogram it so you would not do that, was his thought. But then he was like, let's shock people a bunch and keep them asleep for a month.
Oh, God.
So, it wasn't great.
Wait, they induced
Did you know that one of the Kennedys got a lobotomy?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, his sister had a lobotomy.
Sure did.
That one's also interesting.
It's way interesting.
Because whatever the mom's name is of the Kennedy.
Jacqueline?
No, that was the boy.
That's a different one, yeah.
What's his face's mom? She was
Totally
having the daughter that got lobotomized later. And the doctor wasn't there yet. And the nurse didn't want to, like, the baby was, like, on its way out. Mm-hmm. And she's like, keep it the fuck in because I don't know what I'm doing.
Let's just close this up.
So she just, like, kept it inside of her for, like, 20 to 30 minutes. And then it induced some sort of,
so many
issues.
Problems.
That's not how
so many problems.
Because that's
not how giving birth works.
You can't hold it.
That baby's coming.
So, yeah. That was one of the reasons she had she would have been totally fine, but she
was probably cut off from oxygen for a while.
Probably had some like brain damage up in there too from just like being the force of being held up in there.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was also a last podcast to the left. I listen to them a lot. Anyway.
Not affiliated whatsoever.
No, but they're fun.
But reach out if you want to
if you want to do a collab.
I've been trying to get Friday the 13th to be with us.
Be with us?
To like do something.
Well, be with you.
Well, because they did an episode on Sleepaway Camp, and I was like, please.
Hey.
I really like your show. Please.
Let me talk about.
I'm your biggest fan.
I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan.
What is that?
That's from Misery.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
I was like, it sounds really familiar. I read that book.
That's a fucked up book.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
This hurts me more than it hurts you. Bam!
Does it though?
She chops off his feet.
Oh, in the
yeah.
book.
In the
yeah,
book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were like, you know what's worse? Hobbling.
Oh.
And it's literally one of the most... Oh, I can't even watch
Oh,
it.
I did actually. I worked on a
She
stage.
also won the Oscar for that.
I worked on a stage adaptation of Misery. So cool. And so good. The blood splatter they had in that was so cool.
That'd
oh,
be
it's so
great.
good. Like when the police officer gets shot, sprays all over the
Front row.
yes, there was
Splash
a splash. There was a
zone.
splash zone. There was. It was so cool.
That'd be so
I'd
fun
be like,
to see.
I'd be like, yes, I would like tickets to the Splash Zone, please.
Please,
thank
can
you.
I be in the
Because it was made so you could watch, like it had to be washed out every night because they had to like do the uniform every night. But yeah, there was a splash zone. Like it was like 4 or 5 seats right in the front row.
That reminds me when they did Medea at UMD, and they had like when she kills her kids, the wall. There's like a big white wall that's like always back there, and they dripped red paint down it, and it was so cool. But they had to repaint it every night. But it was such a cool effect.
But it was worth it.
Yeah, worth it.
Okay.
Sorry, that got off
MK
track. a little
Ultra.
No,
bit.
we're good. We're good. So blah 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 blah. One of the guys was named Bob Logie. He was admitted to the Allen Memorial Hospital at the age of 18 because he had like leg pain, but they deemed that it was psychosomatic. So they're like, go to the mental hospital, figure it out. And he basically
You're faking it.
it's not real.
You're
Buck
being
up,
dramatic.
walk it off. So
I can't walk.
they basically just gave him a shitload of LSD.
Jesus.
And then they made him a test subject. So another thing they did to him was something called depatterning, which was they gave him huge doses of electric shock therapy, and then they kept him asleep for months. They kept him asleep for like 22 days at a time or whatever. And they were playing taped messages while he was asleep, like over and over and over again, trying to reprogram him. And the CIA was like, fuck yeah, do that more. I love that.
Jesus.
So, and then they're
Very ethical.
the
absolutely.
the idea was to wipe out that person's prior behaviors and implant new behaviors, which basically cause some people just forget their whole lives, and some people
I can imagine.
Yeah.
That is one of
people-
the things that happens with electroshock therapy. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of memory loss.
some people forgot like toilet training, like they went back to being a child and they had to relearn everything again. When the person was asleep, like they were induced into sleeping for a month or whatever, they would just be shocked. Like electroshock therapy is usually like once or twice a month or something. They were getting shocked like twice a day while they were asleep. And then like this guy, Bob Logie, basically he didn't know he was in MK Ultra, like experimented on, until he's like, I'm really fucked up. I should check that out.
This is not.
He like got his medical records and he was like, oh, no.
The bills for how many times he got shocked every single day.
This explains so much. So yeah, most of the research was destroyed, except for one of the surviving tests, other than all the other ones I just talked about, was Subproject 54, which was subjecting people to sonic pulses or just hitting them really hard on the head to see if it would erase memories.
Is that called?
That's just blunt force trauma.
Just like I just imagine someone with like a hammer, like a comically large hammer. Wonk. You remember me? Wonk. You remember?
Is it
Wonk.
working? I'm gonna keep doing it until you say you forget.
What color's my underwear?
It's that Shiba Inu meme where it's like bonk. It makes that bonk noise.
So, I think they were really grasping at straws, but it ended in 1974. A New York Times journalist, Seymour Hersh, published a story about...
Philip Hoffman.
he published a story about the experiments and, like, the weird spying and shit. The next year, President Ford, he, like, set up a presidential commission against the CIA to, like, investigate them, because this was after Watergate and all that
And the last
stuff.
thing they
Just
needed was
super fun
another
thing.
scandal.
So they're like, let's make sure, because I listened to a lot of things like the JFK assassination. I mean, the CIA is just like,
your funny
Anyways, Magic Man. Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys.
the CIA is just like, they are doing their own thing. They don't worry about the president or whatever. They're like, we have our own agenda. We're doing our thing.
Community.
So President Ford's like, we're checking that shit out. And it was headed by Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, if you're interested in that. The church committee was led by Frank Church. They investigated everything. They found out about MK Ultra. They found a bunch of the documents that were still there. They had destroyed most of them, but they found like a couple thousand pages of other shit, but most of it's destroyed. And they were like, hey, this isn't okay. And the government's like, sorry.
Oops, did I do that?
And that's, yeah. They basically concluded with, cool, we did all that.
All the scientists and agents that were involved were prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and they were taken care. And people who were alive were given reparations for all the crimes that happened against. No, that's not what happened.
That's not what happened.
0%.
No. They basically were like, I guess LSD doesn't work. And then they shrugged. And then the movie just says, the end.
And then they left.
The end.
So I got my stuff.
And I left.
That's it.
What was that thing that Trixie says? Drop my baby, or fool me once, shame on you. Drop my baby, something. Oops.
Oops.
Sibling story time.
Sibling story,
Oh,
but
got
after
it.
a pee break.
Are we, okay.
We've done peed. All right.
Sibling
Okay,
story.
so-
Special guest.
So, my wonderful sister Michelle.
Embarrass your sister.
Yes, absolutely. So, this is embarrassing for her. So I'm going to tell her to listen to this. So a couple weeks ago, I got married.
Yay.
So we were up in Duluth, and so the night of, so actually this does have to do with taking substances. We had gummies that we'd gotten from a friend in Denver.
LSD gummies?
Sure, no, they were just
No.
weed gummies.
Just weed.
And so we had all been drinking. Well, not drinking a lot. We also had a glass of wine, and then we took a gummy, which I learned was called crossfading, and you really shouldn't do that.
No, it really doesn't. It's not fun.
No.
You should not get drunk and high at the same time.
But we weren't.
We'll
drunk,
talk about that
but
one later.
Anyway, so we were sitting there playing Monopoly, which is also a terrible game to play when you're high. Play something else. Play something faster.
I was
paced.
gonna say, why the hell?
Because there was only that and Clue. So
Clue
would
better.
be so much
But
better.
then we did play Clue. But so my sister was the banker for Monopoly. And the whole time, like, she'd taken the same that everyone else did. And everyone, like me, my husband, and his sister, we're all high. Feeling it now, Mr. Krabs, all that good stuff. And the entire time, she is vehemently denying it. She's like, I don't feel any different. I don't feel any different, guys. I don't feel nothing. Her eyes are going bloodshot. Then there's a point where she stops. Like, we're like, on our phones, and she's counting out money to something. No one has said anything for a solid, like, 2 or 3 minutes. And she's, like, looking down. Then she, like, snaps up and looks at Chris, and she's like, trying to see if I'm high.
Catch me.
And then no one had said a word. No one was looking at her, and we all burst out laughing. And then about 20 minutes later, she's like, "Shit, guys, I think I'm high."
Shit.
I'm like, you've been high for like 2 hours, Michelle.
Just realized it.
It was so funny.
Oh my goodness.
She's gonna get so mad at me because I'm telling people that she did gummies.
It is funny when we play with Michelle. We play Among Us.
And she wrecked us yesterday.
She obliterated us.
Okay, which one is
She usually plays orange. It's Meech.
Meech? Okay.
Yeah, she did an AFK strategy yesterday.
That pissed me off.
and it was
so
brilliant.
Away from-
it was
keyboard.
brilliant because she has AFK'd before, but you think we'd know that she AFK'd because it would give us a notification. Oh, she's gone. Nah, she it was so wild. Like I remember because I was at the table, I left to medical, and I came back, and Light Blue was dead, and Michelle was still standing there. And I remember I reported the body, and I was like, I think Michelle's AFK. I don't know.
So
if
it's
it
your
was
fault,
her.
is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. But it was like I was like, I don't know what happened because she even moved back to the
She was the
exact same spot. Like it was wild. I was
She's
like,
she's so devious.
I'm sure she was sitting there just like, oh my god, I'm gonna get away with this, and then she got away with it.
She absolutely got away with it. Like she's usually so quiet too. Like so, just like she flies under the radar for
I was glad
Among
I
Us
wasn't the
sessions.
imposter once that whole round. I was like, okay, I'm good. Even though the last time I did Imposter, I did do
Even though
really
I
well.
saw her running away from the body, and Marin was like, "That's not possible. She's been AFK." I'm like, "I just saw her running from the body, but okay."
But all right, if you say so.
If you insist.
So yeah.
But yes, so if you enjoyed this, thank you so much for listening. Thank us for speaking.
I'm gonna steal that from Harry Potter. I'm sorry, now.
What?
It's from Harry Potter.
No.
No, it isn't.
Wait, what is
It's
it from?
It's from Got to Be Real.
Yeah, I was like, "That's not Harry Potter."
I thought. What's his face says it
Who?
when he's. Oh my god!
You have to be a little more specific.
It's
here,
so
darling.
hard. The
Which
second
movie?
one.
Second movie.
Two syllables.
Lockhart.
Lockhart.
He says, "I
Doesn't
don't."
he say something like that?
I wouldn't put it past him.
No.
Feels like something.
But
he would say.
I know it from Got to Be Real, where Whitney Houston goes, "Thank you for listening. Thank me for speaking. I love you."
Then I'm very sorry.
But anyway, but if you would like to follow us on social media, we are on everything basically. It's
Pretty
Living
much.
Vicariously. You're gonna have to fight your Google Translate.
Your Google
Your Google
Translate.
search bar.
To
Except
our one
for,
Finnish viewer.
Twitter is Live Vicarious if you want to follow us there. If you want to send us your movie recommendations, your own like paranormal or scary stories, your
Sibling
stories,
stories.
so we could feature you on the podcast, like
Heck
we
yeah.
featured Tyler's today.
You'll get right in.
Oh yeah,
They are not banging down the door.
But if you want to know how to get on the podcast, I'll tell you the address, and you just throw rocks through the window.
yeah. So feel free to give us an email at livingvicariously@gmail.com. Also, you can catch Tyler and I, as we've said, every Sunday, Monday, and Friday, streaming on Facebook with Games Become Them.
And that's games spelled GAYMES, and then become them. You're also gonna have to fight your thing.
You think that I would have learned my lesson after living vicariously,
But you didn't.
and I didn't.
But
and I think
she
it was wasn't
did.
it,
No, it was you that.
I was like,
you
wasn't it even my
suggested Yeah, it was your
suggestion?
suggestion.
God damn it.
You could have said no. You could have said you dumb
But
shit.
I really liked it though.
I
I
did
wanted
too.
to have games in there, like
Yeah.
Because we're gay.
Surprise, we're gay.
So
also they are in drag, and it's very cool. They serve up looks. So
I did my Gem in the Holograms pizzazz look.
That was very fun. That was really cool.
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
you like were quoting when we were doing the stream, and I was so angry I was on mute because I'm like, I said it too. I said it.
Is that Stormer from the shitfish? She can't even talk. I'll have you know you don't need to talk. You don't need to talk when you're at Annie DeFranco
Franco
Lake. See you in hell, breeders.
I love that. The
I'll have to
inability
show
to
it to
put
you
on
then.
eyeliner.
I'll have to show you it later.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you so much for listening.
We can cue it up right after.
Have
this.
a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Boo.
Oh my god.